Following on from speaking to David McNulty last week, my next chat is with one of GB's rising stars in the pool, Tom Dean. So Tom, how are you doing? And happy birthday for last week. No longer
Thank
a
you very
teenager
much.
anymore.
I know, in my 20s now, as of Saturday. I'm doing good. Yeah, I had a good weekend. Got all my family here, so I actually got to spend it with them, which was a nice change. And obviously, it's not expected, but it was cool. So we got to have nice dinner together and stuff on Saturday night. Just recovered on Sunday. It's our rest day, and then been getting back on it this week. And we had a session this morning, and I'll have one later today as well.
Oh, nice. I obviously did catch up with Dave in my last video and
Mm-hmm.
said how you're all doing like loads of different types of training and all keeping really fit. How is the training going? I've noticed you've been on the road bike quite a lot. So how's
Yeah.
it going?
Yeah, it's good. It was quite tough at the start because it was so unexpected. Everyone at Bath, we've got these amazing support staff at Bath, and we're trying to scramble together just to get something out for us. So, but now we're about 6 weeks down the line, so we're starting to settle into a routine. We're getting a weekly schedule sent out to us with all these Zoom call appointments we need to log on to, and we're breaking it down. We're doing some circuits, we're doing some gym sessions with Andy, our S&C coach, and we're doing our own thing, like you said. So I'm got really into going out on my bike. So I borrowed one of these road bikes we got in our garage, and I was headed out, and I got the Strava app, which I think everyone did in lockdown, and have been jumping on it and logging it all. So I'm really enjoying it. And you can get out of the house for 2 hours and get on a nice long ride or something. So it's good, and I think now we're settling back into a routine. It makes gives some structure to the day. It's not so kind of, we're not lost or anything, and it's really good. And logging on to Zoom calls and seeing everyone from Bath is always nice. So, yeah,
definitely think that's good, is keeping in touch with all the swimmers. And also when you're doing it with other swimmers on a Zoom, there's nowhere to hide. You just know you're all doing it. So I think that definitely helps.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you've got a tough gym session, when you're just by yourself trying to motivate yourself to do your press ups or your pull ups or whatever it might be, it can get quite hard. When you've got 10 other people on a Zoom call all doing it at the same time, you've got your gym coach giving you bits of advice and stuff. It's just like being back in Bath with everyone else. So it makes it a lot better.
So what part of training on like outside of swimming have you enjoyed the most, and what have you enjoyed the least?
I think circuits I definitely enjoy the least. Having to get up and getting this sweat on and stuff like that. Whereas, we're just so not used to it. I'm having to do like burpees every other day, which I just never do down in Bath. So it's a big change, but it's good because it gets you going, and we do them first thing in the morning, so it starts off the day really well. I think I've really enjoyed doing the different forms of cardio that I don't normally do. I mean, we don't do anything other than swimming for cardio. We don't do running or cycling or anything like that. So I've been, as I said, been able to get on my bike a lot. We've got this old rowing machine in my house, which I've never used, which I've been jumping on. So been really pushing myself on that. So it's nice just to kind of sample different things and, just doing things that are interesting as well as keeping me fit. So, yeah.
It'd be interesting to see whether Dave uses a bit of that in your program when you're getting back in the pool, because obviously you want to slowly build back in the pool and don't want to push it. It'd be really interesting to see that. We'll chat when you are getting back in the pool.
Yeah.
In March at the Edinburgh International Meet, you swam a best time in the 200 metre freestyle, 1:46.03, I believe, off the back of a training camp in Australia. You must have been feeling so confident heading into the Olympic trials. How did you feel, obviously, when you heard the news that the trials were over, and also, again, the Olympics being postponed to next year?
Yeah, that was an interesting meet. So as you said, it was less than a week after coming back from Australia. And before Australia, I'd gone away to altitude training camp in Arizona, and I was actually the only person in British swimming to do 2 camps in January and in February, and everyone either did one or the other. So I'd gone straight from one camp to the next. I got a really great 2 or 3 month block of training in. In Australia, we did a kind of mock competition, and I, posted a best time there as well in training, which was so unexpected. And it just showed me that the training we've been doing had really started to pay off. As you said, got back to Edinburgh, less than a week off, kind of stepping off the plane, so we wasn't expecting anything too amazing. And I got another best time, which was really exciting. And I did want to kind of go under into that 145. It would have been quite cool, but 146.0 was also pretty nice. So PB, unshaved, untapered, unrested, and I was like, okay, so I've got 2 more weeks of hard work, then taper, and then I'm into Olympic trials. So I just couldn't wait to race there. And then the following week, literally 3 days after getting back from Edinburgh, Dave said he sent us home for a few days because we thought we'd be having a week off after the trials got cancelled. and that was the last time I was in Bath, and that was 6.5 weeks ago. So yeah, it's been a bit crazy, and it was like, you know, the rug just getting pulled out from underneath you after such a kind of a good block of training. So the first few weeks after that were quite tough, because it was like, I've done all this hard work, I've put in all these hours and stuff, and I couldn't wait. I mean, we're on the cusp of taper for the Olympic trials, and my first chance at really making an Olympic team. So it was tough the first few weeks to come to terms with it. But I, you know, I spoke to my coach, and we kind of were able to spin it on its head slightly and think, actually, this could be a positive. I mean, it gives me a whole extra year of training. I mean, I've just turned 20, so I'll be 21 going into next summer. So I'll be a year older and hopefully a year faster as well. So we tried to put a positive spin on it, but it was tough in the first few weeks.
Yeah, I can imagine. Obviously, for all athletes, it's absolutely gutting, but when you know you're in such great shape, but definitely giving you another year, it's just going to give you another year to be even faster. But obviously, you did see your kind of breakthrough swim in 2018 when you were part of the 4x2 team at the European long course. You guys won gold, and since then we've mainly kind of seen you race the 200 free, 200 IM, but also one of my favourite races was seeing you win silver at the European short course in the 400 metre freestyle in 3:37.9. So what events are you kind of looking towards for next summer, and what events are you training towards?
Yeah, so it really was that breakout swim on the 4x2 at Europeans, like you said. To be honest, I was only expecting to swim like the heats of the 200 IM when I went there, because I'd just come off the back of European juniors, and I got picked for this senior meet, which I wasn't expecting. So I thought I'd just be swimming the heat swim, and all of a sudden I'm in this relay, and all of a sudden we're in the final, and I'm swimming with, you know, all these senior swimmers that I've never even met before. So it was really kind of a real roller coaster of a first meet, first senior meet, but that was really cool. And then, yeah, it's been 200 IM and 200 free really, since being at Bath. There have been the main ones, but this year, yeah, so obviously James Guy moved from Joel's squad to Dave's squad, so he's been my training partner this season, and him being such a great 200 and 400 freestyler, and being, you know, such a big name in the freestyle world for so long, we've been pushing each other in training on the freestyle sets a lot. And my 400 free during this short course season, just gone to the start of this swimming year, really kind of moved on quite a bit. And yeah, I got a PB at the start of the season, PB at this Europeans meet, and all of a sudden I was in the final. I just scraped into that European final because one of the Italian boys didn't make it in. And yeah, I found myself racing like Rapsis and Detti, all these huge names, and it was a complete shock. And then, yeah, I made another drop in the final, which was really exciting. So that kind of brought the 400 free in a slightly unexpected way onto the scene for me, and into the focus. So we started doing more 400 freestyle pace sets. We did a lot out in Australia. I got to race it for the first time, long course in Edinburgh, and start to kind of get a flavour for the event. And it's very much a case of looking what is how the event shapes up within Britain. So I mean, you look at the 200 free, it's quite a stacked event within Britain, but the 400 free is slightly more open. So our aim, after speaking to Dave, was, you know, first day of British Trials, 400 free, you know, get a good time logged in there, and hopefully book my place on the team on day one of the trials, which was really exciting. So obviously that didn't happen because of the pandemic and everything, but it's really kind of come onto the scene since then, and I think it's going to stay in focus for next year as well.
Definitely, it gives you another year to learn the event as well. If you've not had much experience in it, I think it gives you so much chance to just practice it and get that kind of race plan right. And obviously we know Dave loves the 400 metre freestyle. yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, he's a big fan. He likes those big threshold sessions, the big 400 freestyle sessions. Yeah. But no, it is a case of learning the event. I've done it twice in the last 6 years, Edinburgh and then Ostrom. So it's completely new for me, yeah.
Oh, well, I wanted to chat to you a bit about your transition from a junior to a senior athlete, because you seem to do it quite smoothly. And obviously we saw you move from Maidenhead to Bath National Centre in 2018. How did you come to the decision on where to move, and how did you find that kind of transition from maybe a club programme to a national centre?
Yeah, so as you said, I came from Maidenhead. It's quite a small club. It's not a big club by any stretch. And I've been there since I started swimming when I was 9 years old. So that's all I've ever known, really. And as I started getting towards the end of my time at school, I was kind of coming to the end of sixth form, and I really started to think about university as well as, you know, what would be good for my swimming. So like a lot of swimmers that age, I looked at America, I looked at Britain, and kind of what looked good for me. And I mean, I've got an older sister who's on a swimming scholarship to Duke University in America, getting a medical degree in paper. So that was a really interesting prospect as well. But I really started to focus on the national centres in Britain when my swimming started to kick on after that Europeans, for example, like you mentioned. I looked at Loughborough and Bath, and I actually went on a camp with Loughborough and just tried it out. But I think when I went to Bath, the course at the university, the mechanical engineering course I did was really, really good. It's really prestigious. It's a lovely town, and I really clicked with my coach Dave, and we really, really got on from the get-go. I saw a lot of similarities between him and my club coach Paul, who I've been with since I was really young. I saw, a lot of similarities in how they work and their approach to swimming and training. So it's almost a no-brainer at that point. And yeah, it was a very smooth transition joining in September of 2018.
And obviously with the move comes like a change of coaches as well. You've said that the coaches were very similar, but how did you find like the change of coaches, but also training at a senior program? Dave will probably be watching this, so
Absolutely, yeah, it is different. It is different, and as I said, going from a club program, an age group program to a senior program is a step up. I think the actual workload I was able to deal with, because I'd done some really kind of big sets of Paul in Maidenhead. He said before I even left, he said, you'll be ready for whatever Dave or any other coach can throw at you. So the actual workload was okay. I think you do slightly different sets in that the quality and the aim is slightly different. We introduced a lot more race pace when I wouldn't do as much of it when I was an age group swimmer, and also everything that comes with joining a national centre really stepped up. The gym work, the physio, even things like Pilates and stretching and core sessions that I didn't really do at Maidenhead were kind of an added workload as well. But yeah, it's just a change in focus. But yeah, it was quite smooth. Yeah.
And we talk about the commitment that it is to be about athlete. It's not just swim, it's gym, Pilates, nutrition, physio, all those kinds of things that you've got on. And as you've said, you're studying a degree at Bath University, but also a very tough degree doing mechanical engineering. So you've not got it the easiest, but how are you finding managing your degree, your studies, but also training as well?
Yeah, it was quite tough when I started, because I was leaving my swimming program. I've always known I was leaving school. I was starting university. I was leaving home and having to live by myself for the first time. So it was a lot of change in a really short space of time, and I think it was tough trying to fit it all in, because obviously it's a national centre. It's not a university sports club which work around lecture times. The national centre works around people that are full-time athletes. So the training sessions would sometimes clash with lectures. But the good thing about university is it's very much, up to you how you work around it. You can watch your lectures online. You don't have to go to them. It's not like school or anything like that. You can pick and choose what you think is really important. I mean, things like labs and exams and things you have to attend, and the swimming has to move to the side for those. But lectures, you can move them around a little bit. One thing that really helps was Dave. He's so understanding when it comes to that. And he said, I want you to get a great few years at National Centre, and, I want you to achieve great things in swimming, but I want you to get a good degree at the end of your time at Bath as well. So he sat down with me at the start of each semester, and we just planned out how the week's going to look and how, the lectures will fit around the swimming sessions, and we made it work. But yeah, it was quite tough last year. And for this Olympic year, I decided to put my studies on hold.
Yeah, obviously, you said on the training camps, being away, altitude, Australia, it's tough. It's tough doing both, and you had to for doing such a tough degree as well.
Yeah.
But, I guess. So, what's the plan, obviously, for next year? Because obviously, Olympics being postponed. Are you able to do your uni degree again?
I'm actually kind of in the middle of making my mind up about that right now, because on the one hand, I really enjoyed my my uni course and I really want to get back to it. But on the other hand, it's an Olympic year and those really don't come around very often. And if I've got the chance to give it another go, like I gave this year ago, do all these camps and kind of commit myself fully to the swimming, then that's also quite tempting. So I'm in the process of making my mind up. I do like to keep active outside of the water as well, whether it's a project I'm working on or whatever it might be. So it's just a case of figuring out, where I go next year.
Oh, yeah. And so the last question for you really, is there any advice that you'd give to swimmers, obviously at home during lockdown? It's a tough time for most swimmers and most people, but is there any advice or things that have helped you kind of get through this time?
Yeah, I think no matter who you talk to and no matter how positive they are on the front of it, everyone has tough days and everyone is up and down. I've got all my brothers and sisters here, so we always kind of I've got a lot of people I'm spending my time with. So that's a real positive and it helps me out. But even Dave, my coach, and obviously Jazzy, your old coach, he's had his tough days and he has his good days and stuff like that. So it's hard to focus on a goal when you're not with everyone else who's doing it and you're kind of by yourself. But just making sure that I'm in the best shape I can be when I get back in the pool, whenever it might be. That's the most important thing. That's what's really motivating me. So just trying to keep that in mind, I'd say.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. I've loved catching up with you. It's been so good, and I think
You too.
for so many young swimmers, it's just going to be so useful for them.
Mm.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to watching you race over the next. Thanks.
Absolutely.